now tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hamilton, music moments, and everything in between. I'm Stick Braxton today.
And I am, as always, Mike D. Jackson.
What's up, man? How are you doing today?
Pretty good, man. I can't complain. Normal Monday, as usual. Here to talk about Charles Hamilton music, as usual. How are you feeling today?
I'm good, man. I can't really complain this week. This is a normal week thus far, and I'm hoping that it remains that way. So you know how those days be.
Definitely. You know what that reminds me of? What was it? Magic School Bus, where they always wanted like a normal field trip, and then it never ended normal. Maybe it would get back to normalcy after, but you know how it is. So I'm just feeling I'm just really excited, man. I'm trying to be a little bit more professional. Oh, serious note, you think I'm joking about this? I was told by a little birdie that they're not really as fond of us doing our like little back and forth banner in the beginning of the podcast, that we take too long and that we should be talking more about Charles Hamilton music, even though that's only like 5 minutes of like what we do here. But no, that's an actual serious thing that was said. So this is me trying to be a little bit more professional and cut down that time. So to those that didn't like that, oh, I apologize. So by the way,
Uh-huh.
trust me, because when I was talking to this person, the person that told me the information wasn't the complainer, but I was like, you know what? Trust me, I understand, because I'm not a podcaster. Like, I'm learning more of this on the fly with you, but at the same time, how the fuck else do you start a podcast? Oh, hey, this is the Charles Hamilton podcast, StarCHaser Central. All right, this is what we're reviewing right now. Boom, there we go. I'm like, I don't think that's how that works, but I'm not the podcaster. So,
Normally when I've done a lot of these podcasts, right? And typically, and I'm gonna ruin whoever said that, I'm ruining his plot now because now I'm gonna talk for the next 2 to 3 minutes. Usually when someone I do podcasts, if I have a co-host, typically they, will talk beforehand about something that happened and we just get like feedback or anything like that. I'm hearing this feedback for the first time right now. Um, Normally I would say some very pointed things at said individual. They would usually be 4 to 5 letters mixed in little, what did Patrick call them? Sentence enhancers to explain how I feel about said person. Um, but I'm not gonna do that. Nope, I'm not gonna do that. I know how I will get my revenge. It'll be very quick and very soon and very swift, and that's fine. Anywho, are you ready to review today's tape?
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
yes, I am. I am more ready than ever. So, whenever you are.
Okay. We are reviewing a second tape in a series that we started maybe only a few weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago now. We are doing TWA Flight 801, Steve Smith and the Blazer.
Yes, sir. Steve Smith and the Blazer. Um, it's funny because when we did the other one, which was Trailblazing, and then there's another one, I want to say it was the Clyde Drexler spell. We haven't, touched that project yet, but I remember you've talked about this project a couple of times, or at least I've seen it in passing, like from you. And in my head, I was like, I'm surprised you didn't bring up this one first. But at the same time, I'm like, maybe this you not trying to be biased. But I got some of my notes here for TWA Flight 801, Steve Smith and the Blazer. This project was released, I thought it was like around September-ish, but it looks like it was August, around mid-August of 2013. So close enough, that 2013 era. I want to say that's kind of like that sweet spot where we're getting out of the rough, rusty era of 2012, where there's a lot of toxicity. We're in the 2013 era where you're starting to see some gems being dropped here and there. Um, Funny thing that I found out. So there's a couple of professional players named Steve Smith. There's, the basketball one, the football one, and some other people just named Steve Smith. And I'm like, okay. Funny thing I learned about Steve Smith, the basketball player that's being referred to, uh, born March 31st, 1969. So me and him share the same birthday. I'm like, okay. Uh, Also his spouse, named Millie, which is my mom's name. I'm like, yeah, me and Steve Smith got something in common. That's crazy. Um, for a couple of teams he played for: Miami Heat, Atlanta Hawks, Portland Trailblazers. You know, Steve Smith and the Blazer. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Hmm.
San Antonio Spurs, New Orleans Pelicans, and then Charlotte Hornets. So a little bit of fun facts for that. Normally, this is like I think that section where I'm like, okay, what did the StarCHaser say? See if I can find anything that pops up. Not much. But I will say this, pretty much anything I did see, it was like really small comments. Oh, this is a really good tape. This is a really good project. That was pretty much it. Didn't see anyone that said anything negative about it, but I didn't see anyone like go into detail either. Fun fact, another fun fact. On your favorite amazing 27 list, this project was number 21. Not sure how you feel about it now, but you know, maybe next year we could do the top 37.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like in the future we could do like a different type of ranking or whatever. Um, Interesting, interesting. Yeah, I know Steve Smith, as an NBA fan, basketball fan, I knew about Steve Smith's, career. Really strong scorer, really good in the post, had a decent shot, really could get to the rim a lot. Want to say he
Pause.
went to the no, all right, man.
Hey, yo.
I
I'm
was just
sorry. I'm
talking.
sorry.
Sorry, we're not allowed to do that anymore. Um, no, but I knew about his career, whatever. So when I saw the name Season to Blaze, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I get the reference. And we'll talk about the covers later that kind of supports that. But yeah, 21 on that list. I forgot when did I make that list? When he was 27. How long ago was that now? 11 years ago? No,
I
10 years.
felt you made it when you were 27. I thought that's why you did that. Or maybe I'm wrong.
No, I
So
think I did it when Charles was 27 or something. I
so
want to say
then
that's what I did.
so you would have been 26 then.
Yeah, so not
So
crazy.
10 years ago.
Yeah, 10. So yeah, 10. No, I would. It's probably changed since then. I would think, just based off of listening to stuff and kind of go, especially with this podcast going over different stuff. It's probably changed. But we'll do that on a different episode. Do you remember your first time listening to this tape?
So here's the deal. I don't want to talk about the cover yet, but I kind of have to say a little bit about it.
Hmm.
I remember seeing the cover, the Steve Smith and the Blazer cover where he's on there. I remember seeing that. And people say, oh, yeah, Charles has some songs. I want to say at this point on YouTube, when people were releasing and dropping certain Charles projects, certain channels weren't doing the whole playlist thing because the playlist didn't exist yet. But they would have certain songs, and then I think I probably might have heard like maybe one or two, and then I was like, oh, I guess that's just it. He just dropped some singles, maybe. I don't know. But going back to listen to this, I'm like, I don't remember any of this. I don't remember any of this at all. So for me, I'm going to respectfully say no, because I feel that regardless if you like or dislike a Charles Hamilton project, you would at least be like, oh yeah, I remember this. I liked it because this much. Or yeah, I remember hearing it. Oh man, it was a rough listen. I don't remember any of this at all. So I'm going to say no. I remember the cover. That's all I really remember. That cover specifically.
Yeah.
But how you obviously heard it, so how did you feel about it back then when you first listened?
Uh, this is one of those ones where it was automatic, I think. I was like, I really like what he's doing on this tape. I think and I'll talk about it a bit more, but for me personally, I was like, okay, I feel like we're back on track when I heard this tape. I was like, this reminds me of vintage. This reminds me of those earlier tapes, whatever, but it still had like the new version of Charles, the way he was trying to do during that 2012, 2013, 2014 era, which is a lot of some really good tapes come from that era or whatever. But this was probably the one I was like, this is the one I'm really, really excited about and was excited that I pressed play on it. So yeah.
Yeah, dope. It's one of those things where I know I remember the Clyde Drexler. I remember that one.
Hmm.
Don't really remember Trailblazing that much, but this one, when I went back to listen, I'm like, nah, none of this rings a bell. Not even like a certain point where, oh, he said this. Yeah, I remember it. And I'm like, no. So I can't even say that I do. I'm not sure what happened because, like you said, and other people have said, so many people have said, oh yeah, it's a good tape, or I really like it. It doesn't ring a bell to me.
Interesting. Um, This tape has 15 songs. So I don't know how you want to review. You want to review all 15 today?
Yeah, let's put some respect on it. Let's review all 15. By the way, I'm sorry to break kayfabe, but we're about to get analytical, so I'm taking this shit off. Sorry. Pause in case someone wants to say something. You know what I mean? So, because oh man, he's taking his clothes off. Binge 4.
Stop having fun, Mike. We're not allowed to have fun. This is a serious journalistic, apparently, podcast.
I mean, whatever it is, I've been fucked it up already. You know what I mean? So, but
Sure.
sorry. So yeah, let's do all 15.
All right, cool.
I played the bit enough. I played the bit long enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
had the blazer. You know what I mean? You didn't have no blazer. Where's your blazer at? Huh? So
Anywho, let's talk about the cover. You had alluded originally, just in your first time listen question, that there was a cover that included Steve Smith on the cover. It was kind of like a gray background, Steve Smith in the Portland Trail Blazer uniform, and just Steve Smith and the blazer on the cover. There's also the additional cover where it's kind of like, again, a pink hue airplane TWA Trailblazer in the background. Talk to me about both of those covers.
all right. So I'm familiar with the Steve Smith one, and I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. If you have a tape called, TWA Flight 801, it says Steve Smith in the blazer. Even if that, let's say for some reason that wasn't Steve Smith, right? I would just assume, okay, it says Steve Smith in the blazer. And I see it looks like a Portland Trailblazer jersey on. So I'm like, that must be Steve Smith. And he's probably talking about the Trailblazers. So maybe this is a basketball themed project, I'm like, okay, pretty simple. I don't mind it. Cool. With the other one you're talking about with the plane, that is I would say that's probably now the default project, art cover now, which I'm okay with. It kind of fits a little bit better just because of the Flight 801 thing going on. But in my head, I'm like, was there like an issue where Steve Smith was on a plane and he was wilding out or something? Because then that's the only issue I have with like both, where the TWA Flight 801 doesn't really make sense for the Steve Smith, cover, but then the Steve Smith part for the Flight 801 with the plane on it doesn't make sense. So in my head, I'm like, was there like I'm thinking about like WWE, right? Remember when they had that plane ride from hell? Like if
Mhm.
Charles called this TWA Flight 801 plane ride from hell, I'm like, he's referencing WWE. I get it, but I'm like, but also Clyde Drexler, I'm Trailblazer, so I'm like, okay, cool. So, but either way, I like both of them. I think currently now I like the one with the plane on it more.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. As much as I enjoy basketball and I enjoy, I like the Steve Smith cover and just like the reference or whatever. The plain cover makes more sense to the tape itself, especially when you consider the titling of each song. It makes so much more sense for it to be that versus the Steve Smith thing. I think he got caught up in the TWA flight thing. I think that's the whole point. It's like it's supposed to be like a plane type situation. I think he got caught up with the trailblazing, and then once he did that, it was like, oh, Steve Smith was a trailblazer, Clyde Drexler was a trailblazer, and so they just happened to be part of the naming process of the tapes. Um, because other than that, there's no real connection to basketball or to those individuals. So when I think of the cover now, as much as I enjoy the Steve Smith cover, and that was probably the one I use on my iPod or iPods, um, this cover with the pink airplane or whatever, that's the one that I go to the most.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Uh, so let's get started, man. We open up with, as most planes start off, now boarding.
By the way, I seen for certain playlists, and I get it, but respectfully, they're wrong. So, what was it like 2019 when Charles started doing the oh, I'm gonna do songs in alphabetical order?
Yep.
No, I'm not. No. Like
Oh yeah, I'm not doing that.
yeah. Especially like how it's sequenced on here. I'm like, this makes so much more sense. So
Yeah.
all right. So with now boarding, I'm gonna say this, especially when it first came on, I'm like, okay, now I don't remember this, but pretty groovy. Okay, I'm feeling it. I said great intro for the tape. It's a warm welcome for what's about to come. Pause, I guess, because beats dope. Charles sounds focused, and I said I was excited to hear the rest. I'm like, okay, that's what he's doing in the beginning. Okay, sample was nice too. I'm like, all right, no complaints. I'm like, this is a great way to start the tape. And then you're saying now boarding. I hope the boarding process is very welcoming and very safe and comforting. That's how I felt with the song. So I'm like, yeah, good intro, really good intro.
Yeah, it's just a this tape isn't conceptual in nature, but because it's because again of the naming process and the naming of each song, naming it now boarding and kind of having that intro being like, uh TWA as a hook and just saying sing like it feels like a very intro song, a very warming introduction. Uh I think we get another Minding My Business opening in the song as well. Our favorite running gag on this show. But yeah, it's a very strong opening. I think it sets the tape up perfectly. Um I think one thing that we have to talk about during this tape, and I think we're going to talk about it a lot if I know you well, is some of these flips are fantastic and some of these beats are really, really good. And I think that's going to be a consistent theme throughout this tape. But yeah, now boarding. I would say it wasn't one of the ones that I playlisted for my own personal playlist, but it's also a song I wouldn't skip. I think it's very necessary for a listen through on this tape.
Definitely. Also, I want to make sure it said that I would, if you're flying my plane, I want you minding your business. I don't want you near the back of the plane. Oh, what are they talking about over there? No, no, no. Fly the plane. You know what I mean? Like I need you flying the plane. Mind your business. So respect to Charles for minding his business while if he is flying the plane, or the co-pilot, whatever the situation going on. So
Imagine if you took a nap on a plane, right? And then like you woke up and like, you still look in the back and the pilot's like macking on a chick in the back. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you should be flying the plane.
that sounds literally like something from Soul Plane, bruh.
Facts. That is true. That is a fact. Next up we have flight attendants.
All right. So from the first song now boarding, I'm like, all right, this is cool. So what's next? Uh, the song comes in, and I'm like, okay, he's keeping it funky with the sample. I hear it come in already. I'm like, okay, so I already know what the sample is. And then beat flip, smooth as hell. The verses are smooth. The hook, literally a hook. I think probably by the second time I heard the song, I'm already trying to learn the hook. It was that catchy for me. Um, and this is the second song. It made me rewind and go back. I think I got done with the first listen. I'm like, nope, I'm going back. I know it's that early. I don't care. I'm going
Yeah.
back. This is number one surprise pick, two favorite, instant favorite.
Wow.
It's instant favorite. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I fuck with the song crazy heavy. So yeah, this is definitely my favorite song for this project.
It's all me. Something about my lady. She always makes me feel. Something about my lady. She makes me take the chance. She turns me on and out. I dropped off my.
We talk a lot about starting off strong on tapes can really do wonders as far as like how we feel about the experience. Back to back really strong songs. Um, kind of not too far different, but different enough where like the styles of like the beats kind of it keeps your attention, but like now you're like, oh, it's a little bit further up than the last song. Now it's funky. Now it's what I'm saying, it's a little you catch a little groove. Like you said, that hook is really good. Some really good hooks on this tape as well. Um yeah, Charles is having fun. It sounds like he's having fun on these songs, a lot of these songs. Um just one of those ones, man, where like you said, you want to play it again, you want to play it a few times. Like it's a 4 minute 22-second song, but when you get to the end, you're like, one more time, just for the road. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I can see why this is one of your favorites and why this is a surprise pick because again, we're real early and already we're what I'm saying, we're trying to play the songs back. So really really good call there, I would say. We have airplane bathroom next. First off, how often you use airplane bathrooms?
So the last time I was actually on a flight was probably 6 years ago. And I for my job I had to go to Vegas and then come back. And we they didn't let us do too much in Vegas because we were there. We had to obviously fly there. Well, actually, no, you first had to fly to, was it Texas? It's two plane rides. Fly to Texas, then fly to Vegas or whatever.
Hmm.
That first day, okay, you're flying there, cool, whatever. You only had 2 days to, for class, and then the fourth day, like, oh, time to go back home. They're like,
Yeah.
y'all are leaving Thursday. You're not leaving Friday. Y'all are leaving Thursday. You're
Yeah.
not, normally they're like, normally these classes last till Friday. Nope. We know where you're at. No,
Yeah.
no. But yeah, that's the last time I was on a plane, period. I've been on a plane since because, the next year stuff happened. Haven't been on a plane since. And normally if I not even normally, the only times I've had to use the bathroom were like rare, and I just went number one. The Maybe the second or third time I was on a plane, whatever. I don't know where the plane came from, but someone got busy in there. Someone, and I'm not saying they got busy like they did stuff. I'm saying they got busy like it stunk. It
Yeah.
stunk in there for hours. And they said, yeah, they were like overseas or something like that with that last plane.
Yeah.
They said it stunk like that for hours. They were spraying everything. It still stunk. It
That
stunk. It was bad.
that's wild.
Yeah.
Um, I try not to use airplane bathrooms. Usually, I try to go bathroom beforehand, and then I just like my most of my flights are never that long. Like I think the longest plane ride I've ever done is one to Vegas, and then I did one to Chile when I was in college or whatever, when we had to go play basketball down there. And so I had to use it for that one, but most of the time I was asleep. So, but if I do have to go, it's always cramped. I'm sick. I'm 6'10", so like it's not the most comfortable situation anyway. So I just try to wait it out or whatever. So, but what do you think about the song itself?
All right. Gotcha. Actually, first things first. Let me just make sure I clear the air on this. The microphone can never magnetize you, you fucking liar. I'm tired of people trying to say that the microphone magnetized me. I got magnetized by the mic, the microphone. No, it didn't.
Right.
No, it fucking didn't. Let me say it again. The microphone can never magnetize you, you fucking liar. Stop lying. Stop fucking lying about that. Like that shit pissed me off. So
That's
anyway,
honest. That's honest and facts, man.
so much Charles had to tell you all that. But anyway, so I'll be honest, when the beat came on, I was questioning it because I've heard that beat before, like the original sample, and I'm just like, that's like the whole EDM type of sound, and I'm
Hmm.
just like, not saying that Charles can't do good on it, but I'm like, from the two funky songs we got in the beginning to this, I'm like, oh, this is like a kind of a hard left. I don't know, and I've seen other people flip that song before, and I'm like, I don't know, I've seen some people not do that great with it, but I'll be honest, I think it's a good flip. I consider this the down and out, but I can do this song, because some of the stuff that he was talking about, he was kind of telling a story about just a lot of stuff that he was going through. Like in the first verse, he's talking about, just being so young and, being out in the streets, but then just realizing, man, I have a gift, so I need to use it, that whole type of deal. Talked about, I think second and third verse about, honestly the arguments and fights he had with his mom, and then other people just be like, hey, you believe I can really do this with the music? And the hook I think is really strong. The verses are good. I said it had that warrior chant feel because it's the whole I got that.
Hmm.
I got that. So the song won me over in the end. Like in the beginning, I was like, I don't know how well he's gonna do, but um overall it won me over. So I think it's a good song. So I'm like, okay. I was a little iffy, but you gotta trust who's flying the plane. They're the pilot, not you. So I was like, okay. So he won me over with this one.
Yeah, I have no problem with the flip. I think the flip is fine. I think that back then, this is definitely one I was like, I could do without this. I'm not a big fan of this one. I think today, like, years later, I say that it's still important for the listening experience. So it's not a skip for the album. It's not a playlistable song for me. But I do have a better appreciation for the song today than I did back then. I would say it's probably my least favorite song, at least at the bottom three for sure. There's a couple more where I'm like, iffy. Um, but yeah, I would say it's won me over at least as far as like listening throughout the full tape or whatever, not skipping this, but still one that I'm like, I don't really need it as like a necessary listen.
Yeah, for me, so far I haven't got too many skips yet. So it's one of those things where I can see like between these couple of songs, this would be like my least favorite, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like least favorite as a oh man, this song came on. I'm still playing this. Two other things. 32 aspirin. A lot of fucking aspirin. And then just the I got the music to make you move. He kept saying that over and over, and I'm like, okay. I noticed with some of these hooks, he's not trying to be overly complex and he's keeping it simple. And I'm like, this is exactly what you need. You don't need to, overdo it with anything. Just, make it something approachable, something that people could chant, people could sing. I'm like, this is why I think these songs are working a lot better than maybe other songs from that time period. Because it's like, okay, most people aren't going to learn the verses. But at least if you got, I got the music to make you move. I got the music. It's something simple, but it's like, oh, and you now you're moving and you don't even know that you're doing it. So it's like, oh damn, he got me. So
Uh, Great point. I would love to hear your thoughts on Captain's Log then. First and foremost, I'll go first just to kind of start us off. Captain's Log sample is a resample of the song Voices from the Pink Lava Lamp, which I will again have to talk about later because I'm a nitpick something. But when I first heard it, I was like, what are we doing here? Is this a remix to the song? But then like, it's still playing in with what he's doing on the tape. And I was like, I don't know. I really like this song. I still like the original better. I still like Voices better, but I'm not mad at this. This is like it's a really good record, I think. I think he's playing again to like, his emotional side because we got the introduction song, we got the little funky song, we got the EDM song, and now we're getting like a little bit of emotional Charles. So Charles is taking us on 4 different trips already. Like, you know what I'm saying? I envision it like a plane. When you get on a plane, you think, oh well, it's taking the trip, and that's the end of that plane's ride. But a plane is done probably multiple trips before you got on that plane, and it's gonna do multiple trips after. So like right now, we're on the 4th trip, and I think that's this. They're all such different trips, and I like what he does here. Um, I love everything about this, but it does get to the point where he starts singing, and I think when I first heard, I was like, "Oh, that's different. That's not something that he normally does, especially if we're talking what 2013." Wasn't necessarily used to it. It might have happened a little bit in 2011, 2012, but again, I was on and off at that time. So when I heard, I was like, "Oh, I don't know about that." Again, with time, it's like, and you compare it to some of the stuff he's done since. I think this is a better use of that over singing that he does that we talk about a lot. It's not long. It's only for a quick bridge, and then it's over. It's back to the regular hook, and basically at the end of the song. So it's not like it's throughout the entire song where a lot of those records are. So I'm not mad at it at the singing this, and I think the verses were strong enough and the song was strong enough where that's like a blip on the radar, and it's still a very good record for me. But how about you coming off of your comment from the previous song?
so I heard the beat come in, and then first thing I hear, I'm like, wait a minute. Cause I was thinking like maybe my playlist is messed up. Cause I'm like, why is voices coming? And then I hear the new hook that's on here for Captain's Log. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, well, we're 4 songs in. I'm like, it was a good ride. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, because we've seen Charles do that before, where he wants to like reflip a song, redo a song, and do another spin on it. And I was like, man, like I was like, man, like he could have just left this alone. I'm like, is he gonna ruin it? No, he actually didn't. I was pleasantly surprised by this. So um when I hear him rapping on it, I'm like, okay, he's doing a different approach because how I feel is like voices, it's definitely a structured song, and him talking about the voices, the problems, and all he's going through. And this version was like, okay, I'm gonna do a different hook, and also I'm gonna rap, but I'm gonna do more of the, I guess, freestyling or just do the off the head, which is very focused. So I'm like, okay, it's not bad at all. So I'm listening back to it. Hook simple, very simple hook, whatever. He's just repeating himself over and over, which kind of is a callback to voices. So I'm like, okay, because he said something like that on voices. So I'm like, I'm singing the hook again. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm singing the hook again. I look at this, maybe not like a remix, but just an alternate version. Like, oh, if he didn't make voices, this would be the way that he would have made it if, there was no voices.
Mhm.
And it has a similar feel, but it's different enough to have its own identity. I'm gonna agree with you. I don't think it's better than the original, but I don't think it has to be because it's that good.
Yeah.
It's literally like, you know what? This is like a 1A, 1B type of conversation. Also, I don't think it's controversial to say this either. Let's say for some of the, we've ran into some fans that said, yeah, I've never heard the Pink Lava Land,
Mhm.
but they might have heard this first, and then they never heard voices. And if they were saying, you know what, I like this better than voices, I I wouldn't be mad about that because like you heard this first, and it's not like, oh well, he didn't do this or he didn't do that. It's like no, because they're similar but they're different, and I think I love both approaches.
Yeah.
Even with the singing he does, after the hook when he's like starting to like it's more the painful singing like oh I'm trying to sing from my heart not
Mhm.
necessarily from the diaphragm or singing from the soul or whatever. It's like well part of it's soul but soul pain that whole thing. So I'm like for this song it works because it's like I feel the pain in his singing, so that's where it is. And also he says near the end like the whole I got lives on my back motherfucker. So I'm like okay, so I felt the pain and I felt where he's coming from. So this is a really good alternative. I'm not mad at it. So I'm still on board. I didn't jump out the plane. I didn't Ron Browse.
Uh, Pilot's Chant.
Uh, so and I think this is the problem that I had because like I keep getting to the next song and I'm like, all right, well, I think I was being so like negative. I'm like, okay, so this is gonna be the one that's gonna just it's gonna fall out fall out, and I'm like, man.
Yeah.
So I heard this. It's like a laid back cut. It has like that reggae influence feel to it that's chill. This feels the most to me like a freestyle flow track. Like he really was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna say whatever on here and just, just be relaxed and chill. Um, I think in the beginning I was just like, okay, it's not as I don't want to say bad, but I'm like, you know what, it's not as great as the other songs, but it's this I think originally was going to be like my skip. I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be my one that I skip. But the more I listen to it, I'm like, nah, it's this isn't a skip for me. It's not. Excuse me. I love the incorporation he did with the sample with the hook because he's like, I'm the best that ever did it, and y'all do. I'm like, oh, okay, that's clever,
Yeah.
clever. You know what I mean? Um, I consider this the smokers track. So like this is the type of song people will play just smoking on the plane. So or if there is a smoking section on the plane, I don't know. Depends on what type of plane you're on. If it's Snoop Dogg's plane, smoke all you want. So uh but no, it's a cool song. It's a cool song. I like it. Definitely not on my highest list, but it's not on the lowest part either. Like we'll get to it, but this is a song I'm like, you know what, I'm cool with it. I like it. And to me, this sounded like Charles was having fun, just as the hey, I'm not going to take this serious. I hope y'all don't take it serious either. I just want to, kind of spit some bars, have some wordplay, and say some catchy things or whatever. So I'm like, this is cool. I work with it.
Yeah. I like this record. I like this record a lot. It's kind of hard when I started thinking about the songs and I was like, what are my top songs? And I'm thinking like, what's my top five? What's my middle five? What's my bottom five? I started to think about like where does that land? Because I'll when I started listening, I was like, oh, I like the song, and it's probably one of the higher ones. And I kept getting further down the track list. I was like, oh, but I like this a little bit more. For this to be early in the tape, it's a really good record. Again, it's like a fun record. It's another fun hook that you're able to kind of recite back. And like you said, when he's integrating the hook with the sample and it fits and it's good, it's fun to just play off of, right? Yeah, I think Charles does a great job here. Again, like he's having fun, like three good verses. Um, does the thing where he kind of raps into the hook sometimes. I like how when he does that, especially like on the third verse or whatever. Yeah, it's a good record. It's a good overall record. I think, I can see it's being somebody's favorite, but just because of how fun it is or whatever. But yeah, it's a good record. We have Tray Tables next.
It's interesting because you said it already. With a lot of the names on of these songs, that it has something to do with like a plane or something there. It's interesting because I guess you say all of them. Like how I look at it is this, like the traditional, okay, what is this song's name? Okay, I'm expecting to hear that in the song. No,
Mhm.
it's not. Like he literally just picked like random things. So every now and again I would get like a little confused by certain songs because I'm like, okay, because for Pilot Shan, right? How much would just call that best that ever did it? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or like, Anyway, Trade Tables, I said it was another groovy song. Starts well with the hook. Um, and I love the singing with the hook. We kind of mentioned that before, earlier, and also on other episodes where like Charles will like have some type of like sample and like he'll put it in he'll add like let's say the chorus or some part that like he's gonna repeat for the hook. And I'm like, all right, cool. But there's a lot of times like I guess you could say in recent music where like he'll be singing and the hook will be singing and they'll be singing two different things, or he'll be going in like this direction, the hook's going in this direction, and I'm just like, man, like once again, keep it simple. Like sing with the hook, like that. It's a template right there. Like you don't need to do anything crazy or anything special, unless you're going to be like chopping in there where it's like, oh, I'm manipulating the beat or the bars a certain way, so now I am singing with it, But
Mhm.
um, yeah, Charles, he isn't fighting against it like in other songs. Verses are good and it's vibe heavy. So I like this song. It's cool.
This is one where before, I don't think I respected this one as much as some of the other songs on this tape. Listening throughout the week for this one, I was like, I like this so much more than I probably originally did. It's a really good hook, and I think a lot of it has to do with the masterful, like I said, the masterful flipping of records, the samples that were used. They were all like they're kind of like, except for like save one or two, are kind of in the same vein of like just real groovy, funky, vibey type of records. Um, and just hooks, man. I think one of the things that I've noticed later on this podcast, probably the last 20 episodes, I would say, has been that I miss the hook making from like even as soon as 2014, 2015, something like that, right? Because they're so fun, they're dynamic, they make you want to recite them back. They make you, like I said, they can make you want to learn them so you can sing them when it comes on, right? And there are just so many of these on here, and this is another one that uh, maybe back then I didn't appreciate, but now I love it. I love this hook or whatever. So the hook does a really good job. The verses are still pretty good. Yeah, it's I would say it's an underrated record. Actually, yeah, I will say this is my surprise pick to take because I felt I did wasn't like the hugest fan of it before, but I would say I would playlist this now.
Yeah, I could agree with you for it being underrated. For me, this being my first time listening to it and having to do re-listens, this is definitely one of my, I'd say probably being like my top five. Like when I first listened to it, I'm like, yeah, I really like this one. And with so many other songs on here, I'm like, man, sometimes certain songs you get like knocked out of a top three or a top five just because it's like, man, like it's like this one's good, but this one's just that much better. Which just like just that much.
For sure. No Charles Hamilton tape would be a Charles Hamilton tape without him just rapping, no hooks. So up next is Super Turbulence.
It's funny because with this song, I'm like, man, like, so I think not necessarily the problem, but okay, I'll say that near the end of my part. It's more boogie music, more get down music. It's the jungle boogie flip. So I call this the get down song because especially nowadays, like Charles will always do a song where get,
Yep.
get get up, get down. Oh, I'm filling up, now I'm getting down. He's doing that whole thing. So like you said, but I call this the if this was to play at like a club or something like that, this is the get your ass up and get down. This is like literally like, no, you can't sit down on during the song. You get up. You have to, yeah. So the DJ will be going crazy, like, everybody get the fuck up right now. It'd be that type of song. The beat makes you want to dance, and then Charles barring out, literally just barring out. Like you said, no real hook. I guess unless you want to say the wop bop blue wop, that part, whatever.
Right.
But literally just barring out. I think there's something for everyone on this because I guess because of the beat being the jungle boogie, that whole part. I'm like, okay, that might be the super turbulence. Everyone's going crazy and whatnot. Charles is going crazy on the plane. Imagine that. Like all of a sudden, oh, you gotta be going through turbulence. And all of a sudden, pilot just comes out, just starts freestyling with a microphone. Fly the plane, bro. What are you doing? He's like, no, I am flying the plane with the microphone. You know what I mean? And that's literally like oh, wait, I had to say this. I think only one person's going to get it because if someone else gets it, thank you. So what game was it? Jammer Lammy, because I think Hexa
Yeah.
had the Jammer Lammy
Yep.
profile pic from Discord. So literally with Jammer Lammy, where she doesn't know how to fly a plane. Like, you need to learn how to fly a plane. She's like, I'm a guitarist. I don't know. Just imagine the plane is a guitar, like the which okay,
That makes
sure.
no sense.
Makes no sense. What really doesn't make sense is Parappa. When you beat the game with her, then you get to play Parappa's levels. Same thing. Parappa, I don't know how to fly a plane. Imagine it's a microphone. I gotta believe. And literally, like instead of her version being the rock version of the song, his is the rap version. And
Yeah.
then apparently like he's just rapping and freestyling, and then flies a plane. Yep. So is Charles Hamilton Parappa the rapper confirmed? No, but no, but with the song, I was like, if there is turbulence, like I said, there's something for everyone because like there's the dancing, there's the if you want to hear bars and all that in the beat, there's something for everyone. I said if there is turbulence, it's because everyone's dancing and doing too much on the plane. Like it's not the turbulence in the sky; it's everyone just like okay. Eventually, everyone's got to sit the fuck down because y'all are bugging. Y'all gonna make the plane crash because you're doing too much. But nah, this is a really fun song and very enjoyable.
Yeah, again, this so far there's been something for every type of Charles Hamilton fan thus far. So thus far on this tape. Again, this is for the one that just want to hear bars. Like I said, it's a mini hook, but it's really just him letting the beat ride and then him jumping back in when he's ready to get, back to rapping. Even says after the second verse, so had to take a break and gets right back into it again, right? Yeah, he's going off, man. Again, he sounds like he's having fun, bro. He sounds like he's having a blast. He's yelling. I think he was trying to ad lib oh shit for a little bit throughout this entire tape. But yeah, it's just a fun record, man. Like the beat is crazy funky. Uh, yeah, it's a good feel good record, man. Charles is doing his thing so far on this tape for sure.
I almost forgot about that because yeah, like you said, almost every song, not every song, but almost every song. Oh shit. And that's gonna like make me worry too. You're flying the plane. Oh shit. What are we oh shit about, bro? You should be the last person saying that. I don't need you talking about some oh shit.
You're just in all you hear is oh shit, yo. Why did the pilot just yell that? All you hear is ding. Don't worry about that. Like, no, I am gonna worry about that. What are you talking about?
You said it multiple times through
Yeah.
the flight. You said it like at least like 8 times through this flight, bro. Tell me what's going on. Nah, bro. I need to know now. Now I need to know. What's going on, man?
One time you said, "Oh shit, goddamn!" Like, wait, what? You combining too many things right now, Brody, bro. Um, slowing things down a little bit. Something you never want to hear on a plane. A crash.
Yeah, that is not a good thing at all. So I'll say this and respectfully for because I'm not talking about in real life, but
Right.
for the project. I said I was waiting for this type of song to happen. I'm like everything is like I said, last song was so hype, and then there's the groovy songs and all that. I'm like, there's going to be a point in time where he's going to have to like bring the levels down, bring the sound down, everything. And I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with this because we're basically at least like halfway or about halfway through the tape. So I'm like, you know what? One of these songs it has to be somewhere in here, and I'd rather it be somewhere in the middle. Like I'd rather you not end this tape with a crash. So when I first heard this, I was like, oh man, this sounds like it's gonna be like a lo-fi song. And like we didn't talk about this before, but I'm like, most of the sound quality on here, has been like very serviceable. Where it's not like, oh, like the vocals are too loud or the beats too loud or this and that. So when I first heard this come in, it sounded a little lower than some of the other songs, and I'm like, okay, this might be like the lo-fi song. And then how his voice is because he's not screaming over the beat. It's a very tame beat. So I'm like, he's matching the energy, which he should. So I'm okay with that. And it makes sense because like he's matching that energy because if you're going to name a song or Crash, I mean, technically Crash is loud, but like I feel like this is like the after the crash where everything is quiet, everything's silent, you know what I mean? So I think when I first heard this in my earbuds, at first I'm like, okay, this might be like the lo-fi song. I played it in my car, or whatever. I'm like, no, it's not really lo-fi. It actually has some kick to it a little bit that I was surprised by. I'm like, okay. Overall good song. I would say this song for some people could draw like the short stick. Like for me, it might draw the short stick, but it's not, I guess you not my least favorite, one of my least, but it's just like um it's not a bad song. It's just like the product of its environment where it's like, okay, I
Mm.
really love this. I really like this. I like this one. This one's great. And then this one, like, it's okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Just like, well, something has to be the least favorite. So in this situation right now, I'm like, this is the least favorite, but um I wouldn't necessarily skip this one either. Um some songs like this do have a potential to crash a whole tape, and then you're just like, well, he can never recover from this. And yeah, this it was a good run from this. Like half the tape he was flying high, and then he crashed and he just never recovered. Um, I don't think the song does this at all. So overall for me, it's okay. I'm not mad at it. It's okay.
Yeah, I think just all the same sentiments. I think that it's not a bad song, and it's like a reset basically of everything that happened before. Because again, for most of the records, they're very high energy. I guess you could say a Captain's Log was kind of a little bit lower, but it didn't slow it down to this speed, right? So again, it's like where what was the one airplane bathroom was kind of that, I'm down but I can get back up. This is like I'm just down, right? And it's like again, it's supposed to represent a crash, probably not like a literal crash, but like I said, the remnants of a crash or whatever. um it feels like an Incubus style song. I'm not sure what the sample is or what he may have gotten from that. um but that's what it kind of reminds me of, like Stirs of Echoes from Sonic the Hamilton. Kind of very similar to that vibe or whatever. But it's a decent record. Like I said, good way to kind of slow things down after being such high energy off the last record. Again, maybe not a playlistable song, but necessary for the listening experience for this tape.
I would say, real quick, for those wondering if they didn't know, the samples, Foo Fighters, Everlong. The only
Foo
reason,
Fighters, nice.
yeah, Foo Fighters, only reason I know the song, I don't know it that well, but I want to say it was on Guitar Hero 5. And like,
Mm.
that's like when I started getting the Guitar Hero, because I didn't play it like back then when it first came out, because I was in my, oh, nah, I can't play that, man. Black people don't fucking, we don't do that. And then, like, I was like, then eventually I'm like, bro, stop fucking, who cares? No one cares, bro. Relax.
Yeah, yeah. The fun game is a fun game, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Um, Next up we have Anti-Turbulence. So a smooth flight.
Um, yeah, I would hope so. So this is I call this the super soulful song that makes you want to sing. Um, Also, I consider this the conscious hip hop song that gives power to the people through positivity. A lot of things that y'all said on here, just very inspirational. Good bars, good verses, sample, the hook that was boosted by the sample. The hook was simple, sorry. It was a simple hook that was boosted by the sample, which makes it great. Um, I love the bar that he said about people being worried about aviation. I think it's like you getting more accidents or deaths happening with car crashes than aviation. So it's like I get it, but um, what else did I say? Really good song, really good song.
Freedom was never given. At one point, black people were the exhibition. Now they wanna exit living because a particular brown skin dude. Let y'all know there's a way around this food that you get with a card, or you get with a car, or you get when you cop in the whip and you set off a couple strays. Y'all been lost for days. Harlem lost, but hey, I'm Harlem's boss, okay?
I think we talk a lot about there are our favorite songs there, but there are also songs where it's like this is probably the best song on the tape, just from a objective standpoint. I think this might be the best song on the tape, just from an objective standpoint. Great hook. The verses seem super important. Like he's really rapping about something important to him. Um, all three verses, and then that again, that sample does a lot of good work as far as you know helping with what he's trying to convey as far as the energy and what he's trying to match there. So Really good record. I would say it's probably the best song on the tape, bar none.
I something I want to add to that. I could agree with that because one of the things I thought about, 'cause I'm like throughout this whole song, he's trying to be positive and let people know like, hey, we're all in a situation right here where none of us want to crash, none of us want to die. We want to just make it to our next destination because I'm going somewhere else, you're going somewhere else. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to go home. Basically, I felt like the whole song Charles was saying, "Trust me, I'll get us through the storm. I've been through worse," because of some of the other songs like turbulence and all that type of stuff.
Mhm.
Another good thing that he said was I can't remember the bar exactly, but basically saying they're hating on the other side. He's talking about the people, I guess, people that are in first class versus the people that are in coach. He's like, yeah, they don't have as much money as they don't have as much money, but they could teach you the most. And I'm like, this is like kind of like the substance stuff that we're talking about, whatever. Because like, and I know Charles never want to be considered like a backpack rapper or anything like that, but it's like, but you're talking about stuff with substance where it's like, you've had $1 million deals, you've been, homeless, you've been here, you've been there, you've been on both sides of the coin or whatever. So it's like, hey, like let's all love each other and try to look out for each other while we're on this plane because you only have one life. So it's stuff like that where I'm like, this is like the substance stuff that's really dope to hear from him. Not saying you gotta talk about rich and poor people all the time. But it's like there was a song like this. I'm like, this was masterfully done.
We followed it up with "It's Up to Me." It seems to act as like an interlude. It's only 2 minutes. And we'll get into the interesting thing about this record and its follow-up, sort of. Um, what did you feel about this record? Because I feel like what I want to say has to do with the other one, but also there's something in this song where I'm like, kind of ruins it for me.
Okay, so I think I know the bar that you're talking about that said the kind of ruins it for you, but I'll let you talk about that, then I'll give my 2 cents on that part. So just talking about this version right here. This is this is the that church gospel influence that like Charles will mention every now and again. And I know he doesn't really like you hear more of like the dark stuff that Charles talks about, especially like in the most recent music. But every now and again he'll mention, about, God, Jesus, and wanting to do better, wanting to, be better and all that. So and we know that he's conflicted with religion at times and his beliefs, but I think this is a good song. I'll say this because it kind of conflicts with what you're saying. I feel like this is a good song that avoids the blasphemy that he loves to normally run into because the bar you're talking about that I'll let you talk about, we definitely heard him say a lot worse. You know what I
For sure.
mean? Like I when you talk about that, I know probably 20 different ways he could have said this in like 2011, even though it didn't happen in 2011, but
Hmm.
um, it's a short song and it's fine. It's like you said, it feels kind of like an intermission or an interlude just to be like, all right, well, we're almost home, y'all. Just let's just keep calm and enjoy the rest of the flight. And I think this was needed because I think almost all the songs are like 4 minutes, which is not bad. Like I said, we've enjoyed the song so far. So I'm like, this is cool. If this song was longer, I don't think it would have worked. I'm like, it needed to be short. And he only did like 8 bars or something like that for both verses. So I'm like, that's cool. Um, Sounds crazy. And obviously I'm skipping ahead of time, but you got to remember, I didn't hear this until this year. So
Right.
I didn't hear this in 2013. But a song like this, I would have wished that he did like something similar on the Hamilton Charles album. I felt like
Okay.
because of course, we talk about, they didn't really have the direction for him and this and that. It's like, well, y'all have heard some of the stuff he's told you or whatever. So like do a song where it's like, hey, I'm not trying to be super preachy, but I did grow up in the church, I have some beliefs and whatnot, whatever. Like he could have easily did like another similar song like this and put that on Hamilton Charles. Like I would have loved to hear something like that. But I do like the song. I really do like the song.
Uh, when the song came on, I did forget that this song was on here, right? So when it came on, I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot. I love this beat, this record." And I was like, "He's really rapping. It's a short song, so he has to fill in the verses quickly." So when the first verse goes by, I'm like, "Oh, cool, good record. He's good rhyme patterns, like multiple rhymes in between. The hook is very fun. No, not fun, but like it's a good hook or whatever." And then second verse starts, and I'm like, "We're still on the same course." And then he says something to the effect, uh. if Trayvon was wilding, then George had to air him out. And that was it for me. I think back then, I don't know. I feel it probably was still conflicted back then when I heard it. I was like, oh, that's dark. But I think I was like, he said worse. But like today, it's just like, why would you say that? I felt like there was another way to say whatever you were getting at. Maybe not use names, maybe find a different way to say it or whatever. But it kind of just takes me out of the song or whatever. Fortunately, that gets remedied later, and we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, objectively, the song is still decent. I just don't like that particular bar in it.
Understandable. So this is what I'll say about it. Of course, hindsight and all that type of stuff, whatever. So it's one of those situations. I don't know exactly, how far removed we were from, that whole situation with Trayvon. So it's one of those situations where, number one, like if this was like any other time after when Charles will say like some super blasphemous shit, I could have seen him say something like I'll kill a nigga like George Zimmerman or something like that, where it's like, nah, oh yeah, like the low hanging fruit. I could have seen him say something like that, whatever, uh, or like George Zimmerman, I don't like you niggas. Like basically, take out Kramer, add George Zimmerman, or add Zimmerman. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like take whatever Kramer bar he had and apply that to George Zimmerman. So I don't know how far removed we were from that when Charles, made the song. So in my head, I guess this is like me, quote unquote, shooting bail. It's like, let's say, like us not knowing all the information that we knew back then. It's just a thing where it's like, okay, if Trayvon was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing and acting suspicious and whatnot, George, was trying to protect himself and trying to protect. That's basically my quote unquote bail, but it
Hmm.
obviously falls flat on his face because we found out after time like that wasn't the case at all. George was
Right.
just on some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like a lot of other people were. So, like I said, that's the only like merit I could really give that bar. Where it's like, if he made it like really early, it's like yeah, but obviously it didn't age well. You know what I mean? But um, that's why for me, I'm like, I don't like the bar either, but I'm like, you know what? I definitely know that he would normally say worse, and I'm glad he didn't. I'm like, I felt like he was trying to do I don't want to say play both sides, but trying to be like, you know what? I'm trying to be diplomatic about it, where it's like, it wasn't a good look, but let me try to like look at it this way, But overall, I do understand because, like I said, it is problematic, and I feel like it's more problematic just because it didn't age well. You know what I mean? Because like not even want to go into that, but like I said, just didn't age well. And it's one of those things where sometimes that's the curse of speaking on a current event situation of a certain time and not knowing all the details about it because it can blow up in your face like that.
That's a fact. The Friendly Stewardess.
All right. So I remember when I first heard this beat, whatever, it's one I said it was a constant thing of I hear this is always something there to remind me. I'm like, okay, so this is a really poppy song. How's he gonna flip this one? We'll see. Um, he flipped it. I was surprised how he flipped it. I'm like, okay, this is cool. It had like a kind of like a gritty feel to it, kind of brought the hip hop back into it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So it wasn't really too poppy or anything like that. Um, it wasn't what I was expecting, but I like it a lot. I also like the he did it on like two other songs, I think, but like every four bars you hear that and then it just go into it, whatever. I just always like that. Like I said, this is I just kept it more hip hop. The hook's okay, bars are good. Um, I also said for me, like this is an underrated track for that I thought, I'm like, will I run to play this? No. But when it comes on, when we get to that point of the tape, I don't skip it. So it's good.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not a bad song. I think that yeah, he does a good job again of flipping it of the record. Um, everything's fine. The beat's fine, hook's fine. I think it's one on my lower end as far as like the ranking the songs or whatever. But again, a necessary evil for the listening experience. I don't think you can skip this record. I think it because it flows so well. The album itself just flows so well throughout. So it's like you don't want to really miss anything. Otherwise, I feel like it might throw off the sound and what he was going for. Because again, it feels like a plane trip. Like you're riding, like you're getting all these different type of records, these different type of experiences. So you don't want to miss out on anything. So it's a decent record. It's not like something that drags the tape down. So I like it. Um, next up we have Clear Skies no turbulence. We've had all type of different turbulence today.
Yeah. I'm not mad at this. Like, this is what you would want all the time. Clear skies and no turbulence at all. Not even like a, um, I know it's going to sound crazy. I might be in the minority, very, very slim minority.
Okay.
His beat kind of reminds me, I think it's like just how he, just the stuff he was using, kind of reminds me of I Hate Parties. Like the drums and all that type of stuff, whatever. I heard the doom, doom. I was like, okay,
I
not
got
necessarily this, not the sample. It's not the
you.
sample,
Yeah.
but what he used for it, whatever. And if I remember, I think he said, oh, back before everyone's doing this trap shit, I was already doing that. You know what I mean? And I heard what he did with it. I'm like, okay, it kind of gives me like the I Hate Parties vibe. Um, so I consider like maybe like a spiritual successor, not a part two or a remix, but just a second way of going about it. And it's not a party song. This is like a feel good after a deep breath, relaxing type of song. Just like I said, clear skies, no turbulence. Like you're just like, man, like there's literally nothing that can go wrong. Like plane ride's good, captain, the pilot's good, or whatever. No crying babies, no one kicking the back of your seat, or whatever, no one being annoying. So it's just like it's a good song. Verses are nice, the hook's good, it's the whole it's a beautiful day type thing. So I'm like, okay, this works. It makes sense. I see what he's going for, and he executed that pretty well. Good song with a good message.
Yeah. So back when I forgot when he dropped it, but the Hamilton instrumentals tape that came out, the list of instrumentals that came out. What I would used to do, especially when I was like writing, like trying to write poetry, I would just sometimes throw on that and just like find like beats to write to. Not necessarily to rap, but just like to get my mind thinking of rhymes and different things that I could do that's like flow wise. That way it's easier for me to write it down later. And I remember this being one of the things I used to write to because U2 is such a divisive band. Some people love U2, some people like this is the their. I think it's when they put their album on your phone, bro. I think that's really the biggest problem is when they got on your phone like and nobody asked for it. I think that was like the biggest issue. But one of the songs I do remember them is the Beautiful Day song. And remember the reason I remember that is because one of my favorite wrestlers of all time is Triple H. And when Triple H tore his quad, the the promo video they would play when he was ready to come back was Beautiful Day. So I love that song. So when I heard this, I was like, oh, that's how is he gonna flip this? And when I heard it, I was like, oh, this is fire. So I didn't think he would ever write on it and actually make a song out of it. So when I heard this, I got really excited. And it's a good song, man. Like you said, clear skies, no turbulence, beautiful day. It all connects together. The hook is really good. The energy's so upbeat and up tempo. He's versus I think there's like it feels like there's a filter effect on his voice. Kind of sound like it's coming over an intercom, kinda. Like he's like maybe talking from the pause the cockpit or whatever. But but I do like that aspect a little bit. Maybe I wish he didn't do it as much, but overall it's a good record.
Funny you said that because I forget what song it is right now, but he had a bar about that saying something from the cockpit, and he said he didn't have to say pause or stop it. So I didn't know if you were referencing to that or not, or I
It
forget what
is on
song
this
it is, but
on
he
this
does
tape,
say
yeah.
that. Yeah, he
Yeah.
says that in one of the songs. So
Um next up it's a Crash 2. Can I start there?
yes, you can.
Okay. Also included in the Hampton instrumentals was this record, and this sample is from a Lupe mixtape, and I can't remember which one it is now, but it's and then he gets the girl, and so and it's Pharrell. So again, Virginia, that's the whole thing with me. So when I heard this, I was like, damn, is he ever gonna rap over this one? So when I heard this is my favorite song, by the way. Of this tape, it's my favorite song. It's always been my favorite song. It's kind of like a storytelling record because like it's talking about how typical Charles thing. I don't even know how to explain this song. We've been able to explain all the other songs. It's not really a breakup song, but it kind of is because he's like told I'll be gone until tomorrow, but no, I won't be home come tomorrow, and now she's gone. It's like the song is too up tempo for it to be a breakup song, but that's what it feels like, and that's what the vibe is going off or whatever, right? But just the beat, the flow, the hook, everything just merges perfectly for me. Yeah, this is always my favorite song on this tape, and I think it'll always be my favorite song on this tape.
Told her I'll be gone until tomorrow, but no, I won't be home come tomorrow. And now she's gone one more time, 'cause now she's gone no more time. She was
So yeah, this is probably like the most popular song and the most well-known song. Like I'd always, if I ever saw people like saying anything about this project, they were sharing this song, you know. And like you said, Charles flipping a Pharrell track, he kept it simple, you know, following the script, and he, you know, like you said, the song with Lupe, you know, and then you know he gets the girl, but then Charles did his where like he's not getting the girl, like he already had the girl, but now he's losing her, and then that whole deal. So it's one of those things where like I always say it's called following the script, but then making the song your own with the verses, where it's like okay, like you hear the she's gone and all that, and then he's just adding his own thing to it. And it's like, okay, well, this is what the song was originally about, but this is how I'm making my song to make it different. And then damn, we had a crash, now we have a crash too. So it's like, damn, there's two crashes, like right after, you know, no turbulence. It's like, oh yeah, nothing could go wrong.
Yeah.
Crash. Two. Damn. Charles has been well in the song. I do like the song, but this might be unpopular. I like a couple of other songs a lot more than this. This is not like on my low list, but like the way that like people talk about it, and then I don't hear them talking about the other songs that I really like, and I'm like, but once again, there's so many good songs so far. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's just you pick what you pick, you like what you like. So I respect it. But part of me is just like, man, I feel like some of y'all are like underselling some of these other songs so much just to boost this one up. But they're not talking shit about it. But I'm like, damn, like this is a good song, but there's some other ones I feel like y'all should like probably gravitate a little more to and show a little bit more love.
Yeah. It's a good problem to have. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, there are so many great songs where, you know, there are hidden gems all over this tape or whatever. We end the tape with, well, we don't end the tape. Let me rephrase that. It feels like the tape ends here with Voices Part 2.
So I think we talked about this with kind of like with Blue Lava Lamp, because you know there was the one song where I'm like, well, this is part two to whatever, and I'm like, this is the sample to this is She's So High, but why wasn't this called She's So High too?
Right.
And then oh, he had the song on there, Voices Again. So they have voices. So yeah, voices again, which is not the same beat. Captain's Log, which is the beat to Voices, which
Correct.
is really a part two, and then Voices Part 2, which is not that beat at all. And it's just like, man, so either way, I'm like, you know what, whatever. Respectfully, I don't think this should be called Voices Part 2. It doesn't feel like it, especially when Captain Log is on this tape. So like, and so the fact that Captain's Log is on the same exact project, I'm like, I'm gonna still call Captain's Log, but it's hard for me to look at this like Voices too. So I think we basically got to the point I was looking at, right? So
okay,
it's pretty much everything I heard. I'm like, yeah, I like this, or I love this, or this is great, this is good. You know what I mean? Like maybe I had some nitpicks for certain things, whatever, but this is the part where like I'm glad we can talk about it now. So you can hear the distinct difference on this song versus the other ones. The beat's cool. I have no problem with the beat. But then Charles is just flubbing on this. Like we get to this song, Charles, oh shit, I didn't mean this, and I'm at that, and fuck, man, I'm messing up in my brain. I'm like, oh, see, no. I'm like, this is exactly what we mean. Like, there's like little like tidbits where I heard Charles like, you know, maybe like pronounce the word a little wrong or something like that, but you can slide past that because it's like it's not that major. But this, I'm like, no, he's doing it like consistently, like doing flubs on this song, whatever. And the hook's okay. The singing, then this is what we're talking about with the singing. On this song, this is where he's doing the yodeling. Oh, I'm hurt, I'm sad. I'm like, no, you're not singing with the beat. You're every other song, you're singing within that certain range, that certain tempo. And you're not going over quote unquote overboard with Captain Log, but it's like, oh, he's singing from pain and experience and all that. So it's acceptable. This is just like you're literally over here and the beat's over here and you're not, yeah. So this for me, I'm going to say objectively is the weakest song on here because everything else was focused. Everything else had its point. Everything else had like just its measurements right. Everything, but this, I'm like, this is like what, and I'm glad because literally every other song, I'm like, I can't really say too much bad about it. Like it's like nitpicky stuff. I'm like, okay, well, this is good or this is great or this is this. This might not be my cup of tea. But then you get to this, and this is like the was it the green thumb, the sore thumb out of the bunch, where I'm like literally like, listen to everything you're doing on the whole project. Then listen to this. You weren't flubbing like this on these other songs. Maybe there might have been one or two minor ones that you couldn't really hear unless you really had like earbuds in. But other than that, no, like you're flubbing on here. You're doing the extra stuff, and this is why we always say, I don't know, maybe he lost focus by this point because he was going so crazy on the other songs. But this is exactly why we say doing retakes and not always writing in your head, because this is a perfect example of like, oh, well, I wrote my head for the other ones. Well, this one you did as well, and it didn't come out as great. So it's like that's why if you're going to do this, I need the songs to sound like that. If you're going to do, what was it? So we're at like number 14, I guess, whatever. So you had 13 songs where they sounded perfectly fine. So I need number 14 to sound like the other 13. At that point, you can't even make no excuse for me. Like, oh, well, it's
Yeah.
take the song off or redo it. Redo it. Song could have been better with some tweaks. I'm not saying this is a bad song, but definitely it's the one that sticks out the most for me. Where I'm like, if you would have just redone it, keep the hook the same, whatever, maybe tone down the singer a little bit, whatever. But I'm like, yeah, nah, like you gotta redo that one. So
Yeah, I can't figure out after listening to this song multiple times if the flubs were meant to be purposeful. Because in the song he's just talking about how, the voices, how they're getting louder and they're telling him certain things. And like all the voices like talking to you while you're rapping, and that's why you're messing up. Are you flubbing on purpose? And like it definitely happens toward the end of the first verse, kind of happens still at the beginning of the second verse, and then you don't hear it anymore. So like that's where I'm like, I don't know, buddy. Sounds like you know what I'm saying? Sounds like you just flubbed up and you just kept going or whatever. I will say people really love the hook. I went to a bunch of comments. People love the hook on this record, because of the emotion to it. I'll say this though. Where the previous song, Captain Zog, which I'm glad you also brought up that this being Voices Part 2, it's hard being called Voice Part 2 when Captain Log is right there. And it just feel like Captain Log should have been called Voice Part 2 or something. Just don't call this Voice Part 2. That's I think my biggest issue. Just don't call it that. Call it something else. But where Captain Log, that singing part is short, and you only hear it for like a short amount of time, and it felt like you said it felt like it was from the heart and like the soul or whatever. And I'm not saying this as fact, right? But just as a listener, as a fan, this one felt manufactured. Like this song is supposed to be emotional and painful, so I'm going to pretend or act like I'm emotional, painful at the time. But it's hard to think that when a lot of these records before, you're very excited and happy and like really joyful, right? So it's like you wanted to end your tape like this, but you weren't in that mood. So it's like now I got to try to force it, and I think you can hear it with the singing. And I get it as the song goes on, the singing gets more emotional or more exaggerated or whatever. So I get that part, but I wish that it was done better. Maybe scale it back, maybe do something different. Because again, that the hook is great. I like the words of the hook. I just don't like the execution as much as maybe some other StarChasers do. Um, and I'm shocked, flabbergasted even, Mike, as you didn't even bring up the most fragrant of this song.
Well, before you say it, the one thing I gotta say, because I know Charles will say it, he'll comment on the blog or something like that, because he said it before recently. He's like, oh well, some of y'all don't know when I do like the mess ups or this it's on purpose. And I don't care. I don't care that it's on purpose. It doesn't sound good. Like think of like if someone made the Mona Lisa, right? Imagine the Mona Lisa, and someone drew an X and all over it. Oh, it was on purpose. It doesn't look good. Take that part off. That's my thing. Not about it being, oh, it was on accident, it was on purpose, it was masterful. Like, it doesn't sound good, it doesn't look good. Do it over. That's my whole thing. All right, so because before Charles says that, I know he's like, oh, well, you don't under, it doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good. Doesn't matter. Doesn't sound good. So what's the thing that I didn't mention? My bad. The frequent thing that I didn't mention.
Well, after all the emotion and all the exaggerated singing, he then goes into bounce that ass, bounce that ass. And I'm like, dog, when I tell you I thought the song changed, bro, I was like, oh, it's a different song. And then I looked down and I was like, wait, what? And it was it was like for good 45 a minute. I was like, what just happened? I was so confused, bro. So just when you add all the stuff I said before, I was like, I could probably get over it if it was just that. But I don't understand how that is incorporated into a song called Voices. I don't. So
So
sorry.
no, I don't blame you either, because I think I was thrown off too myself. 'Cause I'm like, all right, well, we're near the end. So I was like, all right, well, this is going to be like the low point for me. But I'm like, hey, at least we're at the end. So it is what it is. When it bounce that ass, bounce, I'm like, how is it the voices telling him that? Like, he's going through so much pain. Like, oh my, like I'm just imagining. Sorry, I gotta say this. I'm imagining, him going through so much pain and the voices. Oh my God, bounce that ass, bitch. Oh my God. Oh, what's going on, bitch? Bounce that ass. Oh my God, that's not me. I didn't say that. Who said that? You know that was that thing on TikTok, bounce that ass, bitch. Who said that? Y'all niggas tripping. I'm out of here.
So confusing, bro. So confusing. Um, we officially end the tape with an alternate version of It's Up to Me. Just call it It's Up to Me alternate verse. When I think of It's Up to Me, this is the one I think of. It's essentially a new verse. It's the same hook, it's the same beat, it's just a different verse. If we want to be nitpicky, we can get rid of the other one and just have this one be the one, and that would be fine. That's all I got for that.
You're gonna be mad at me. So good verses. I don't think it's better than original.
That's fine.
Even with the Trayvon bar
Yeah.
that was problematic, whatever. It's still decent. I think it's nice to hear a different version, because I was just like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I felt that since the song was so short, he probably was like, man, I really want to rap on this again and rap even more. And it's like, this song doesn't call for that. And you know what, hey, let's just do a separate version so you can, kind of do what you want to do. And then I think for this version, it kind of shows why Charles needs to stay focused and on topic, because this wasn't bad, but it seemed like he just wanted to rap on this version versus the actual song. Because like I felt like there's a type of message in the original It's Up to Me.
Sure.
I feel like he like basically, when we talk about a lot, when he's just rapping and freestyling or just, saying bars and there's no direction, it leads to less replay value. One of the things I think he said on the original is like just he's on EBT, speak up. You know what I mean? The government does this and feeds us these nuts and all this type of shit, whatever. So he's talking about like the struggle and all the type of stuff that goes on in his environment, his area, and the other people around the world, because he's not the only one struggling. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I like the song, regardless of the Trayvon bar, whatever. I'm like, that's why I like the song, because him being real, like, hey, I've been in situations, I've been through the struggle and whatnot, whatever, and it's not cool. But we all gotta kind of get up together and kind of figure this out. Versus here, he's just rapping the rap. Not bad bars, but I'm just like, once again, a lot of times I'm like, for me, the hook's still the same, cool, but the bars, I'm like, okay. Because that's usually what happens in my situation. When Charles like will have like a decent hook and then like he's just rapping about whatever, I'll hear the song and I'm like, yeah, the bars are good. So what? Like,
Yeah.
I don't. There's nothing that makes me want to re-listen to it again. I still want to re-listen to. Unfortunately, I still want to re-listen to the original version. This version, I can cut this off and be like, yeah, I don't need to hear this, whatever. Especially after the last song. I'm like, I really don't need to hear that one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I might listen to it, but I don't need to. I don't need to. But I get what you mean. We don't need to. It's up to me. But how I look at it, I don't count this as a full song. I just count it as a bonus because it's an alternate version. So I'm like, respectfully, I'll still keep it at like 14 or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's cool. So it's cool for what it is. I'm not mad at it, but I still like the original better, just because I felt like he was more focused on that song along with other songs where I'm like, there's purpose. He's talking about something and he's sticking to the topic on all those songs, except for like the last one with the flubs, and then this one is just like, hey, I just really wanted to rap on this again. That's what it sounds like.
All right, we've done a lot of talking today. So we just reviewed Steve Smith and the Blazer for the first time. For the first time? I'm tired. I can tell. In 2025. But let us know how you're gonna do as far as review, pros and cons, and the character rating you are giving it today, Mike.
Yeah, we did a lot of talking, and a good amount wasn't about the tape. So y'all gonna be real mad about it. Oh my God, they're talking about other stuff. Oh, they can't keep getting away with this. Shut your ass up. Anyway, um, this is gonna sound crazy. So, like, obviously, I've heard Trailblazing. I heard Clyde Drexler
Mhm.
back in the day. This is my first time hearing this. Respectfully, I don't think this should be part of the TWA series. Like, I know
Okay.
with the track listing, it the names fit on there, like for the project, and then for the track listing for the songs, they fit whatever. Like I said earlier, like the when you actually hear the songs, like I'll give you an example, right? What song is it? What? Oh my God. Okay, Anti-Turbulence. Like, I don't know for everyone, but like when I hear that name, I'm thinking of like something different. But I know that's a 20,000 feet in the air. I know it's that song, whatever. That's part of my nitpicking. Where I'm like, I kind of wish that like if this wasn't, but at the same time, it is a TWA project. But if I'm like, I wish it had like closer names to what the songs were called. But either way, um, I can tell you right now, regardless of I'm bearing the lead or not, this is definitely the best one, the best TWA out of all of them, whatever. Especially what I heard from Trailblazing, and Charles had those songs with like Spud and SKE, and then some other songs where I'm just like, man, this just like drags the tape down, and this is like focus wasn't there, just random stuff was going on. Like this is very focused. Sound quality is good all around, great flow and bars, catchy hooks. Great beat selection, like you said earlier, like a lot of beats, especially stuff he flipped. Where I was questionable. I'm like, man, what is he going to do with this? Oh, this is actually good. Okay, um, because even if he flipped it and it wasn't that great, I'd be like, well, that's a tough beat to flip. So, but the way that he surprised me by expectations, I'm like, dope. Uh, Also, I didn't say this, but I can say now, the beats are not over chopped and overproduced. I think that's what we've had. We might not have talked about it too much, but I I think I figured it out because a lot of times when he's doing like the over chopping on certain beats, and then like I know he does that sometimes for YouTube, so or like just so his stuff doesn't get caught by sample clearances and all that, whatever. But I think him just like flipping the beats and not overdressing it made it so much better. Where it's like, okay, because guess what? I can sing along with these hooks because these hooks have songs and verses and stuff like that in them. When he over chops it, there's nothing like that in there. Then he has to make his own hook that which leads to him doing the yodeling and all that type of stuff that he didn't need to do. There's a template there. He kept it simple, sing with the song, keep the bars, pretty impactful, pretty nice. And also there's just some just quality there, Um he kept it simple where it needed to be, and then he made it complex, like let's say with the bars or whatever, where it needed to be. So everything fit where it's supposed to be. Bonus point, I would say this, other than the Trayvon Martin thing, but I'd say bonus points for pretty much no taboo subjects or problematic stuff, whatever, like that. Other than that, because a lot of stuff we heard, we're like, oh, this is a great song. Oh, what'd you say about Dilla? Oh, what'd you say about Daughters? So this is an easy tape that I could recommend to anyone. If you I didn't like, and also I didn't know this came out in 2013. If you would just play this for me at any time, I would have been like, oh, this must have been like from 2015, 2016 era when he was signing Republic. No.
Mhm.
So I'm surprised by that. Um, we normally listen to these tapes, what was it like a couple times, then we do our review and all that. I listen to this like every day of the week. Like after like probably 3 or 4 listens, I'm like, okay, I got what I need, whatever. I know exactly how I feel about these songs. Either I like it or I don't.
Mhm.
Just random times I'll be done and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go listen to this again. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to this again. I'm not doing nothing, and I could go listen to something else. And that's the thing. out of all the music in the world, I can listen to anything. And I'm just like, yeah, we're going to go listen to Steve Smith and the Blazer again for like the 6th time this week.
Yeah.
So that being said, everything being said, it's been a while, but this is Supersonic. I can't give it anything lower. If I'm listening to it that much, that means I really fucking like it. Last time I said something like that was with probably what was it? I know what Swag with Attempted Swag. I said that, but there was another tape from 2011. I can't think of it right now, but like if I'm listening to it like every day, that means I really like it. So it's a Supersonic for me.
Yeah. I will say this. I will say there's not been much change from me as far as how I feel about this tape, except for that I now like a couple more songs, more than I did originally. The song is, like you said, this is a very good song. One of the beginning questions when we started this podcast almost 2 years ago now, um, is we get the question of what tapes do we send to somebody like, oh yeah, you could listen to this and really don't have to worry about nothing. We don't have to worry about like the weird, stuff that he says or sound quality, any of these things, that type of situation. This falls under that category, just like you said. Like, I don't think there's anything crazy other than that one bar. There's really nothing crazy that you could be like, somebody's gonna be like, why did you send me this? They're gonna vibe out. There's gonna be all different types of things for like so many different types of StarChasers. Good bars, great hooks, even greater beats. The flips are amazing. Charles sounds like he's having a good time. I think that's really the recipe for good songs, despite what anyone might say, right? Um, so for me, I'm like you. It's been a minute. It's a supersonic, man. It just hasn't changed. It's a really, really good tape. I had it 21. I don't know what 10 years ago me was talking about. I think it's a little bit higher for me now. We'll see one day. But yeah, supersonic.
Nope. Not only that, it's been a while since number one, we either of us have given out a Supersonic, but for us to both do Supersonic, I think the last time might have been like what was it? Technically not the same, but technically, yeah. The last time I remember, someone could, fact check or not, whatever, don't care. What was it? Mogul. Mogul and then
Street Rat.
Street Rat, whatever.
Yeah.
Where I know, like, I basically said that they're both good, but together they get a Supersonic. And I remember you said one was a Sonic, one was a Supersonic, whatever.
Mhm.
But it's been a while since we both were like, yes, Supersonic, like, agreed. Definitely
Yep.
agreed. And another nitpick I have is basically, why the fuck y'all ain't tell me this tape was that good? Y'all really wasn't telling me that. Like I can give you props because you brought that tape up a lot, but a lot of y'all don't. And you might have said that in your review, and some other people, oh, this tape gets like overshadowed because of just that 2013 era. A lot of people just like fell off at that point, whatever. But this is definitely something I would recommend. Like just and I'm just like kind of upset that I haven't heard it since now. So fucking what 12 years? I didn't came out 12 years ago and I didn't hear it till now. So y'all get a Robotnik for me. Y'all get that. Yeah. Double Robotnik. You feel me? So
Well, homie definitely gets a Robotnik. He know who he is. Anyway, let us know how you feel about Steve Smith and the Blazer Man. What are your favorite songs? Um, yeah, just let us know. Tell us which the It's Up to Me's do you prefer. I think that's an interesting conversation. And just tell us, should Voices Part 2 be named Voice Part 2? You can do that all over on StarChase Central on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter on Star C Central. Our individual pages, Stick Around 54 for me, SDIK Around 54 on Twitter and Instagram. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
on Instagram, the Mike Jackson, Mike Jackson on Twitter. Mike D Jackson, Mike D-E-E Jackson. That's one D, two E's. Holla at me. Make sure you guys are following Charles on Twitter at Charles Hamilton. Make sure you're subscribed to his YouTube channel, The Talented Mr. Hamilton, where sometimes he's dropping some new songs. He's going live, Make sure you check up on the lives because even if you miss them when he does them on Friday, he always keeps them archived so you can always just go back and see what they were talking about, what type of beats he was making, whatever the situation was. Last but not least, and it's always nice to say this because he's been very active on the blogs. It's funny because sometimes he is, sometimes not, but he's been pretty active with some blog entries recently. Check out the blog, enterthehamilton.blogspot.com. There it is.
Right. Next week, man, is episode 100. It's been a long time coming. We knew this day was coming for a while. And yeah, I just want to say, really excited that we're about to hit episode 100. I can't wait for that episode, man.
Me either, man. It's one of those things where I'll be honest. I remember like I had that joke in the background, like, yeah, when do you think we're going to get canceled? When do you think we're going to get shut down or whatever? But yeah, it's on the horizon. It's right there. You know what I mean? And we're heading towards it with clear skies and no turbulence. So I'm ready for it. I hope you guys are ready for it and what we got in store. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Other than that, you have anything for the people before we head out?
Just the usual. Thank you guys for checking out another episode. Appreciate you guys. It's one of those things where, especially shout out to the Discord because we were having a conversation earlier and like,
Yeah.
man, it feels good to be a StarCHaser. Just having other people to talk to about Charles Hamilton music and not fish fillet bullshit. So, but nah, it's all love. You know what I mean? So shout out to everybody.
For sure, man. As far as me, just want to give you some advice. I would say listen and enjoy the pod, or like Charles says, mind your business. And that's all I'm gonna say, man. That's all I gotta say. We are heading out of the StarCHaser Central podcast, man, where we always encourage you to follow your dreams
And reach for the stars.